Hello everyone, it is Colin back at you again with another esports video. Today we are going to be talking about the teams that I think you should watch out for in the NA VCT Stage 2. First of all, we're going to talk about the Guard. You know, the team that kind of came out, maybe surprised some people to start off the year. That's who we're talking about. The big question that probably a lot of people have around them is, are they still good enough to qualify for the next Masters event? That's kind of the narrative. Is they went to Iceland, right? They took the #1 seed from North America, but then they went and they kind of bombed out. They lost both matches and then were immediately out of the tournament. Lots of people, we kind of talk about the idea that they didn't have the opportunity to be in the group stage, so that probably hurt them a lot more than maybe they were even expecting. But how much does that LAN experience make a difference for them? Personally, I think that it does make a pretty big experience difference for them. They have a lot of young players. None of them, like even Jonah P, none of them have really played on a LAN environment before. They do have Saya player who had played in LAN a lot when he was in the Overwatch League, but other than that, this is not a team that had really any LAN experience before Iceland. The one thing I do have to say that everyone looks out for is Valen. Personally, I'm all aboard the Valen train. This kid is insane. The mind he has on the game, everything. He's so smart, but it's really up to him to wrangle in the team, make sure everyone's mentals are still up during these games, because he is their leader. So I'm pointing towards him to make sure that everything goes well for the Guard. The next team we're going to talk about is Sentinels. #1 topic that's probably on most people's mind is Sick playing Smokes. I mean, it wasn't that bad, right? He played Omen a lot and it went relatively well, and he has been getting more and more comfortable with it, but it's still a little awkward, you can tell at times. But overall, the team is starting to get back together. But really, I have two main questions though when it comes to this team. The first one is, will Kempeki step up to the level needed? Kempeki was playing relatively well, right? As a team, they weren't playing the best, but Kempeki was still playing at a pretty high level. And that was with him still not necessarily having the best experience, the greatest merging into the team, you could say. So really, I'm looking towards Kempeki to see if he can step up to the level needed. And then the other big question I have for this team is that, can TenZ play anything other than Jett as Jett falls out of the meta? In the last open qualifier, the most played agent was Chamber. He was played basically on every single map. On most of the maps he was played, he had a well over 80% pick rate. But can TenZ play anything other than Jett? Right, they will be playing on the new patch, which means Jett has her new dash mechanic, which many are saying is a buff in some ways, but it's kind of a nerf in others. Really, it's just that it raised the skill floor of Jett while also keeping the skill ceiling relatively high. But can TenZ adjust when he can be trapped by the new Fade abilities that will be in play, and just the idea that teams probably will play around his aggressive playstyle pretty well. The next team I wanted to talk about was 100 Thieves. The biggest question I have for them is, can they connect the pace? Will and Asuna, at times, they both play really aggressively, but sometimes it's almost like they're not on the same page. And when you have Will playing your entry and Asuna's kind of supposed to be there to support him, there's times where Asuna's the one way out in front. So I really would like to see Will and Asuna try to get more on the same page and connect the pace together as a whole team. The next point I want to talk about with 100 Thieves is Mr. Derek Overwatch. The guy is insane. The guy's insane. But he really just needs to keep up his performances. All of the Overwatch players have kind of been playing really well, all the people who came from Overwatch, but I really want to see Derek put in some work and really show why he got signed to such a big roster. And then the last point I have about 100 Thieves and why I think you should look out for them as a good team is the orange chicken difference. If you don't know who Mike's HD is, he is the assistant coach for 100 Thieves behind Sean Gares, and Mike also was the coach for Envy, kind of an interim coach for Envy, and Envy kind of screwed him over. It was a whole mess. But if there's anyone that's going to take in time and go into the lab and cook up all sorts of strats and lineups and everything, it's Mike's HD. And the orange chicken difference, you'll be able to see it. If you tune into any co-streams from the Plat Chat guys, you'll probably hear them say relatively often, oh, that was an orange chicken round or something like that, because Mike has a really big brain on him and he really likes to take the time to work out these kind of crazy strats, these plant spots, these lineups, and I'm really excited to see what 100 Thieves can do against these other top teams. Next, we'll be talking about evil geniuses. As I mentioned with Derek, we've got Boostio on this team, and he's definitely gotten the Overwatch 2 beta buff. The guy has been playing very, very well as of late. And then the next point I really want to drive home with this team is Jogamo's flexibility. Jogamo has been playing super well for this team. He and Boostio are kind of that like duelist flex duo that have been playing really well together, especially throughout this qualifier. I'm really excited to see what these guys can do against some of the top tier teams in NA, because we haven't really seen this Evil Geniuses team get a big shot on the stage for a while. Next, we're going to be talking about Ghost Gaming, and there's one question about Ghost that I hope you kind of have on your mind, and is it, have they finally broke the barrier? This is the first time that Ghost has really qualified for one of these big events, and they kept just getting so close, doing relatively well in the tier 2 scene of NA, and it just wasn't quite there at times. But now is really when we can look and see and ask, have they finally broke the barrier? Can they get some wins on these top teams? First of all, I do want to talk about the Chad, the dad, the chef, Nismo. Nismo has been insane for Ghost for a really long time. He's been a top player in his role, and I mean, the dude's an absolute Chad. He's a father. He owns a restaurant. Like, the guy has his whole life together, but he's amazing at Valorant, and he comes and he plays the game because he's that good. The next point I wanted to talk about was the ranked demon John QT. For those who don't know, John QT, you're sleeping under a rock, because he duos with Shaz from Sentinels all the time. They met each other in a ranked. John was a really good player throughout ranked, and then he got his opportunity now to be on this Ghost team, and he has filled the roles pretty well for them. They really seem to have gotten some of their stuff together now, with him being able to cover a lot of the roles on the team that were previously kind of missing from Ghost, and part of the reason why they hadn't quite been able to reach a qualifier like this. Lastly, we're going to be talking about our boys from FaZe. The number one question that you have to ask when talking about this team is, can Baby Bay keep up his sicko performances? If you didn't see, the guy was dropping a crazy amount of frags every single match. In one of the matches during the qualifier, he dropped 80 kills. The guy is insane, and he's been playing at such a fast pace, and it really has been all due to the supporting cast. Poach, Superman, and Poised. These three guys are all very top players within their role. We have a great IGL here for them, and they all just have been playing well together. We have the synergy from Supa and Poised already. They've already played together for a long time on Rise, and they played really well together there on that team, really overperforming a lot of expectations that people had for that team. But then we have Poach, and Poach has been one of the better Sovas in NA for quite some time, but he really seems to have gotten it unlocked in recent times, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. Supposedly he's playing the Fade for them, so I would really like to see how a team like FaZe can put that all together. But when we talk about the supporting cast, there is one other member of this team, and it's Dicey. And when Dicey pulls out the chamber, he can be godlike. When he plays with Baby Bay together, the two of them, they play really well off of each other. They're both really strong oppers, but then Dicey playing the chamber a lot of the time, he gives room for Baby Bay to schmeek, as you probably know Baby Bay does. And so we are really looking at Dicey here to be that strong core for the team so that Baby Bay can go do the ridiculous stuff he's been doing. And then, of course, kind of just the last point that we have to ask is, has JDM helped this team find Nirvana? Now, that is mostly a joke because of JDM, and if you don't know about JDM, he's the guy who might as well be sleeping at his PC while playing the game because he leans so far back. But in all seriousness, JDM has been a really big impact for this team. He started to get them to look relatively good towards LCQ last year. The team, they didn't really live up to expectations coming into the year, but ever since FaZe has really put together this strong core around Baby Bay and Dicey with the awesome supporting cast, this team is dangerous, and I'm really looking forward to see the type of damage they can do against these top NA teams. Alrighty, so there you have it. Those are the 6 teams that I really am most looking forward to going into this NA VCT stage. I really am excited to see how they can compete with some of the best teams, especially teams like Evil Geniuses and Ghost, as well as FaZe. And then, of course, I would love to hear what you guys think. Which teams are you most excited for? Do you think Sentinels can make it back to where they were? Do you think they can make it through the group and do well, maybe qualify for the next Masters? Personally, I'm not 100% sure about Sentinels. I'm scared for them. I am really looking forward to seeing teams like 100 Thieves and FaZe, though, because I think they have a really solid chance. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about these teams. Also, drop a like on the video if you liked it, and hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. We're really starting to get going, hoping to push out a lot of content here as the channel is just starting. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Once again, my name's been Colin, and I'll see you next time. Bye.